In September, New York is going to host the most high profile summit on climate since the 2015 UN conference that led to the Paris Agreement. And already the conference or the summit is making headlines. And in this case, it's making headlines because Greta Thunberg, the 16-year-old Swedish climate activist, has announced that she's going to cross the Atlantic Ocean in August with a 2-week trip in an open cockpit racing yacht to attend the meeting. And the reason she's doing this is because she doesn't fly because of the greenhouse gases from air travel. And I actually find this stunt really revealing. And I mean, first of all, like we have to keep in mind that this boat was made with fossil fuels. Like everything about it was made possible and manufactured and made affordable by fossil fuels. The second is the boat is actually completely unsafe to use without fossil fuels. So the New York Times points out that although it's outfitted with solar panels and underwater turbines to generate electricity, safety rules require that these kinds of boats have motors and generators aboard in case of trouble, like a broken rudder near the shore. And the team keeps them sealed and only for emergencies. But I mean, I think it's revealing that, in an emergency, it's only fossil fuels that they can rely on to save them. But even if you set that aside, if you read about like what this boat trip will entail, uh, the Times points out there's no kitchen, refrigeration system, air conditioning, or showers. The guy whose boat it is said there's really zero comfort on this boat. For 2 weeks, Thunberg will eat mostly freeze dried and vacuum packed meals, and that the crossing will involve choppy waters or worse. And of course, none of this would be able, you couldn't supply fast, affordable, safe, scalable travel this way. And so, I mean, my take on this is Thunberg is showing the world just how miserable she wants to make it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good illustration because even when there's so much reliance on fossil fuels for the manufacturer and for even the materials and for the backup, even then, the experience is unbelievably expensive and unbelievably low quality. So you think about what it means to have a competitive product on the market. It's you figure out I can make a profit by producing something really valuable at a really low cost. So then people will buy it because they get a lot of value for, in their view, very relatively low money, and then you figure out how to produce it for even less than they're willing to pay for it. And so you just always have this tendency, when you're out competing things, it's always you're looking for, how do I have the same or better result at the same or lower price? And then you think about what the result of traveling across the Atlantic is. I'll just give my own perspective. I mean, my perspective for traveling across the Atlantic, particularly on business, is I want to be able to do it in a way that is cheap. So it doesn't cost me that much. It doesn't cost me that much in terms of money, but even more important, it doesn't cost me that much in terms of time. And then even during the time that it takes, part of the quality is that I have access to things like the internet and digital technology and whatnot. And so this is just saying, I mean, just imagine with our business, part of our business is speaking. And then somebody says to me, "Hey, I've got a speaking engagement for you, but you're not going to be able to work for 2 weeks because you're going to have to go on this boat, and you might have the battery that you came in with, and you're not going to be accessible. And oh, by the way, instead of getting paid to speak, we're going to deduct this travel fee, and we need to pay all of these people's livelihoods to take you. So actually, it's going to cost, fill in the number, right? But like tens of thousands of dollars or whatever it is. And then also, of course, you have to pay off the cost of this very expensive, eco-friendly boat. So it's basically just you're getting an experience of very uncomfortable travel, incredibly unproductive travel that takes a huge amount of time and costs an incredible amount of money. And so the only reason that she can do this is that she's in a fossil fueled civilization. And so for one person to be a parasite to do this kind of stunt, uh, in a sense, other people can afford it. But I even wonder who's paying for it. So I agree. This is a perfect illustration of how the world that they talk about building, A, they can't even build it without fossil fuels, and B, more importantly, it is a world that is not not an enjoyable place to live in, and for most people, not a possible place to live in the sense that if everyone tried to live this way and we were forced to try to live this way, then a lot of people would have much shorter lives.